I just built this language app, and I think it's going to help a lot of people become fluent in Spanish and eventually other languages. Ever since I was a kid, I always thought that speaking multiple languages was a superpower. But when I went to actually go learn Spanish, I realized right away that there's a big problem with language learning. All of the popular apps and books give you hundreds of hours of grammar, vocabulary, and reading, but there was no way to practice conversations, which is why most people want to learn another language in the first place. Language conversation partners and speaking classes with teachers were the closest options, but many times I didn't have native speaker friends around to practice with. I'd get embarrassed to make mistakes speaking with other people, and I had a busy calendar that made scheduling classes difficult. So after struggling with this for so long, I decided to try and fix it myself with this app, and I think you're going to really like it. So I'll show you how this app works, where to get it, and how to use it to become a more fluent Spanish speaker right from home whenever you want. When I practice Spanish today, I sometimes do it at home, but other times I might be out in the street and see something cool that I want to practice speaking about. So does LangTalk app make this easier? Well, check this out. Acabo de ver un skyscraper y me pregunto cómo los diseñan para que they're safe.
Correction. Acabo de ver un rascacielos y me pregunto cómo los diseñan para que sean seguros. When using para que in order that to express purpose or objective with a change of subject, we use the subjunctive mood, sean instead of son. Impresionante. Los rascacielos son verdaderas maravillas de la ingeniería civil, combinando diseño arquitectónico con principios de resistencia y durabilidad. ¿Qué es lo que más te sorprende de estas megaestructuras?
So LangTalk allows you to start a voice conversation in just 2 taps. You can take as long as you need to think and speak. And when you send your message, this corrector coach avatar tries to fix any mistakes you made before continuing the conversation. Also, you can learn from mistakes as you talk. And you don't need to always hold your phone in your hand. If you're out in town or on a jog, you can use the send word feature to set and use a trigger word to send your messages with voice. Fully in Spanish, explain to me the subjunctive using a few examples from Game of Thrones. Roger.
El subjuntivo expresa deseos o situaciones hipotéticas. Por ejemplo, en Game of Thrones, espero que Daenerys gane la guerra o quiero que Jon Snow sea el rey. Aquí, gane y sea están en subjuntivo, mostrando deseos hacia el futuro.
So I set my trigger word as Roger, but you can change it to anything else like okay or vale or send. And then you can walk around, speak, take as long of pauses as you need, and then send your message with voice when you're ready. To mimic a real back and forth conversation even more, we also built a hands-free feature that will automatically send your messages after you stop speaking for a few seconds. Teach me how to use the phrase libre albedrío in Spanish, using examples about Bane and Batman.
Sure, libre albedrío means free will. Examples: 1. Bane cree en el libre albedrío. Él eligió su camino de oscuridad. 2. Batman usa su libre albedrío para luchar contra el crimen, a diferencia de Bane.
So with this, I don't ever have to touch my phone while I'm out and about practicing Spanish. And these are just a few of the features that I included to give language learners the flexibility to practice speaking from anywhere, anytime you want, about any topic that's interesting to you. But what if the conversation practice feels too easy or too hard? I wanted LangTalk to be able to meet language learners where they are, whether you're a beginner that's just starting out, are an intermediate student, or you're actually advanced and are looking to push even further. So I invested a lot of time to building a couple different avatars for each type of learner to practice different levels of Spanish. As a beginner, you'll start with the Beginner Bilingual Guru that uses both English and Spanish to help you start your first conversations. I like fantasy and adventure películas like Harry Potter.
I like fantasy and adventure movies, like Harry Potter. Me gustan las películas de fantasía y aventura, como Harry Potter. Fantasy and adventure films are magical and full of imagination. Have you seen the Lord of the Rings series? Las películas de fantasía y aventura son mágicas y llenas de imaginación. ¿Has visto la serie de El Señor de los Anillos?
Come on, that can be a question, of course. So with this avatar, even if I only knew a few words in Spanish, I could use it to start getting comfortable being in conversations while LangTalk guides me using both English and Spanish. And if the Spanish ever feels too fast for beginners, we built this tool to let you slow down the speech and listen to the Spanish in different voices. Another de mis personas favoritas es King Leonidas in the movie 300?
El Rey Leónidas es un personaje icónico por su valentía. ¿Te parece inspiradora su liderazgo?
So you can use this to slow down the speaking pace, or if you're bold, to speed it up to test your listening. Now, as you improve and move to the intermediate levels, you'll start to have harder conversations with avatars like Corrector Coach that will fix your mistakes as you speak in the language. You'll also have Casual Carly, who will help you sound more natural and understand how real people speak on the streets instead of the more formal Spanish you might get from school, books, and apps. Disfruto de las historias provenientes de la franquicia de El Señor de los Anillos.
Me encantan las historias de la franquicia del Señor de los Anillos. Yo también. Es impresionante cómo Tolkien creó un universo tan detallado y rico. ¿Cuál es tu personaje favorito y por qué?
Much simpler. As you move from beginner bilingual guru for beginners to casual Carly and corrector coach for intermediates, you might later find yourself at the advanced Spanish level and still want to keep improving further. I didn't want to leave out this group, so I spent a couple more weeks in the trenches building the professor. This avatar will try to push your Spanish to the really advanced and formal level as you have a conversation. ¿Cómo puede Thor encontrar el equilibrio entre la ambición personal y la paz interior?
Improved. ¿De qué manera podría Thor hallar el equilibrio entre su ambición personal y su paz interior? Thor debe confrontar y reconciliar los aspectos contradictorios de su propia naturaleza, equilibrando sus deseos personales de gloria y reconocimiento con la búsqueda de armonía y tranquilidad en su ser interior. ¿Cree usted que este equilibrio es posible o incluso deseable para un personaje como Thor?
Not bad. I'm personally a big fan of this avatar because it regularly crushes my Spanish and teaches me things I can't find elsewhere easily. At the advanced level, you might find fewer and fewer resources online that can push your Spanish, and many native speakers don't actually have this more university level of Spanish to help you practice. So the professor has become one of my go-tos for conversation practice. Now, hopefully, as you're learning your new language through conversations, you'll come across lots of new words and phrases that you don't yet understand, and Lang Talk can help here too. One of the things I struggle with when learning Spanish is vocabulary and phrases. I'll often discover a new phrase, type it into a translator, and get even more confused by the word-for-word translation that doesn't seem to make any sense. So to help with this, Lang Talk has Translator Squire, which lets you give it a word or phrase, and it tries to give you a natural translation and examples to help you really understand the phrase. En casa del herrero, cuchillo de palo.
Verbatim translation. In the blacksmith's house, wooden knife. Natural translation, the shoemaker's son always goes barefoot. Examples. 1. A pesar de ser chef, raramente cocina en casa. Es como decir que en casa del herrero, cuchillo de palo. Despite being a chef, he rarely cooks at home. It's like saying the shoemaker's son always goes barefoot.
So this avatar will try to dig deep to give you natural translations for even some of the most obscure phrases. And if you want even more details to really master the word or phrase, you can try the vocabulary wizard, which will give you extra information like where the phrase comes from, what countries it's used in, and some of its different meanings in conversations. Excelsior.
Word phrase, excelsior. Verbatim English translation, excelsior. Natural English translation, onward and upward. Etymology, from Latin, meaning higher, often used as an expression of optimism and ambition. Countries, not commonly used in daily conversations, but might be recognized in several Spanish-speaking countries due to its Latin origin.
This is all just scratching the surface of what Lang Talk has to offer, and I will keep working tirelessly to build and add other great tools for language learners. Things like roleplay scenarios in different languages and other new features. But let's turn to an important topic. Lang Talk just launched on the iOS App Store, and I'll be working to get it to other platforms soon. Once you download the app, you can sign in with an account like Google, and then you can select through different avatars here. You can type your message here and send when ready. Tap here to listen to a response read back to you.
Sure. In Spanish, the subjunctive mood is used for wishes, doubts, and hypothetical situations. Think of King Leonidas saying, "If only we had more soldiers," which in Spanish would be, "Ojalá tuviéramos más soldados."
Change voices, response speed, voice send word, and more in settings.
Sure. In Spanish, the subjunctive mood is used for wishes, doubts, and hypothetical situations. Sure. In Spanish, the subjunctive mood is used for wishes, doubts, and hypothetical situations.
View your conversation history or delete chats in this panel. And when you're ready to speak, you have a few options. You can single tap this mic to send a single message and tap the send mode where you speak, take as many pauses as you need, and you tap here whenever you're ready to send the message. ¿Cómo se dice Star Wars en español? Now you'd have to tap the message if you wanted to hear it read to you.
Se dice la guerra de las galaxias en español. Suena épico, ¿verdad? La pasión por las aventuras interestelares es universal.
Now, if you long tap the mic instead, then it'll stay in conversation mode to speak back to you after you send your message, and it won't leave conversation mode until you dismiss the bottom conversation modal. ¿Quién era el mejor personaje de Star Wars?
Gran pregunta. Muchos dirían que Darth Vader es el mejor por su compleja historia y gran impacto. Pero Obi-Wan Kenobi también es un favorito por su sabiduría y valor. ¿Tú qué piensas? Es una excelente manera de practicar tu español, hablando de tus personajes favoritos.
To enable sending messages with your voice, you can set a send word here and use it to fire off your messages without needing to tap the screen. Forrest Gump es una película increíble, ¿vale?
Totalmente de acuerdo. Forrest Gump no solo es conmovedora, sino que también nos enseña valiosas lecciones sobre la vida. Hay mucho que aprender de Forrest y su forma de ver el mundo. ¿Cuál es tu parte favorita de la película?
And you can use the fully hands-free mode if you want your messages to automatically send after you stop speaking for a few seconds. ¿Cuál es la lección más importante de Avatar: The Last Airbender?
La lección más importante es la importancia del equilibrio entre las naciones, la naturaleza y dentro de uno mismo. Enseña que la comprensión y la empatía son claves para superar diferencias y conflictos. Una valiosa lección sobre el crecimiento personal y la armonía.
So I spent way too many hours to build a lot of great features that I thought would make LangTalk really helpful for language learners. But it's not a perfect app, and I expect to make many more changes. So if you find anything you don't like or have a request, leave a comment and we'll try to address it. And for anyone on the channel's Patreon, I'll set up a way to send feature requests directly that will be considered first as a thank you. But on the topic of not being a perfect app, here are some things to look out for with LangTalk. As always, AI isn't perfect and does make mistakes, so please validate whatever you learn from LangTalk with language teachers or cross-reference when you can. Another flaw is that LangTalk is currently optimized for Spanish. I did include some other languages, but these are fully experimental since I haven't validated that the responses are good. So feel free to try LangTalk for some of these other popular languages, but know that they're fully experimental and review what you learn carefully. A third flaw is that LangTalk is only paid for now to support the cost to build the app. So I encourage everyone to try the app while the price is lower before it becomes more costly for us to support it. And finally, LangTalk is a new app. I've tried to test everything, but if you find anything that needs to be fixed, please use the support page in the app or send a message through Patreon or in the comments. I'll be working on this app like a madman to try to make it awesome for our language community. And I want it to genuinely be a helpful tool to help you learn languages faster and become more fluent. I'll personally be using it to improve my Spanish, and as you use it, send in feedback so we can keep improving the app over time. I couldn't be more excited to hear your comments soon, so I'll see you then, and hasta la próxima.